Hello, everyone, and welcome to Going 19, episode 23. Today we are discussing Stephen King's It, chapters 16, 17, 18, and the fourth interlude. I am Ed. With me is Ember and Allie. Let's start the show. We're doing the bad break through the fourth interlude.
Yes, lots of stuff in this part.
Yeah, a lot of nitty gritty stuff that is absolutely horrible that I kind of forgot about.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
Going 19, episode 23, I think. Chapter 16 through the fourth interlude. So, go. I gotta find my page.
Yeah.
So, initial thoughts?
I didn't remember that I know we're skipping ahead a little bit, but I didn't remember that they already took him on, like in that Silver Slug section. I thought they were just making them. I was like, oh, this is it. This is the first one. Well, I think they go back again as kids, but still, that surprised me.
It was almost like there was two battles as kids. I didn't remember that either. I was thinking, they fought the werewolf in the sewers or something. I don't know. I didn't really think about it. Because I know, I don't know, but I think they go into the sewers through Neibolt Street, don't they? Through that thing that used to be a toilet?
I think they go in...
Or maybe not through that, but wasn't there like a hole in the house or something they went down? I guess we'll find out. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I thought for some reason that they went down like somewhere near the Barrens, like one of Ben's Morlock holes or whatever he says. I don't remember.
Oh my god, you don't know what a Morlock hole is?
No.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I know where it's from, but
yeah, so I mean that's probably the one thing that the first movie got right. Like that's what I picture exactly, like one of those concrete cylinders that are sticking like 3 feet above the ground with a man in them.
Yeah.
I think those are been Morlock holes.
And especially if you're a kid and you see something like that, like as an adult, it looks weird.
Yeah, there's some weird rules where Pennywise comes from. If you don't believe, you're all good, I think is what I got out of that. Or, well, you could be all bad too. It depends on how it goes.
Yeah, I was like, not quite, because there are adults who get tossed in here that I don't think they really had a choice.
Yeah. I thought it was you don't believe he could kill you?
It's kind of both.
Like belief is reality. Maybe that's the way to say it. If you believe it, that's what it is. Like with the...
The way I see it, it's like if you believe it, it has the potential to just make you even more afraid before it kills you. But if you don't believe it, it can still kill you. Or it can drive you insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they all believed in the silver bullet without question. Like what I think I highlighted it, of course. I've been told I highlight everything, but it's crap, I lost my train of thought just like that. They all believe. They had seen enough movies to something to know that the silver bullets would work. They didn't even question it. They all believed immediately. But then when they come back as adults, it's much harder because they don't believe in everything anymore.
Right. And we're not there yet, but that's one of the theories as to why they have the ritual that they have in order to preserve their magic as children.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Not that it makes it better, but that was one thing I saw that I was like, okay, maybe.
All right, so we basically start off with Eddie's bad break, where we didn't end the last time. So,
yeah, which I enjoyed this section more than I thought I would, because Eddie's not really been one of my favorite characters, but I like seeing this part of him.
Yeah.
Like him and Mike too. Like Mike's kind of a latecomer, but I don't feel like there was a lot of bonding with Mike in the group. He just like was there, and he was one of them all of a sudden.
I don't know what it is though, but I love Mike's character. Like I think just because he's been through already, and like he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe now that I think about it, I'm like it's not fair because I think I just see Mike as a lot stronger than Eddie, and maybe that's why I like him more. And they're all still kids.
I mean, what is it?
Well, but Mike's had to deal with a lot more than anyone in the group has, really.
Yeah, Mike kind of got
maybe like Bev.
For like 30 years. Mike's been the keeper of the lighthouse while they all went and got famous.
Well, I haven't even as kids, but yeah, that's a very good point too. He got the short stick as an adult too.
Right? Yeah. All the famous people should put some money in his bank account. So.
The thing is, I'm sure that they would, but Mike wouldn't have it.
That's probably true too. All right, so Mr. Keene calls him. Well, okay. I think it starts with Henry breaking his arm, or does it start with Mr. Keene? It kind of starts with both.
I know it really starts with Mr. Keene.
Yeah, because Eddie's frazzled thinking about that.
Yeah, I like, hey, you want an ice cream soda? Like, oh god, this is gonna be bad. And he's offering me treats.
I also like the dynamic of like adult and child and the trust there, because he's like, you seem like you're trying to help me, but also you seem like you're trying to hurt me. I don't know what to think.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're supposed to trust adults, but this is Derry, and you can't trust anybody that's an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and there's a line that I highlighted where he thinks grown-ups are the real monsters, and it's like, that is particularly true in Derry.
I mean, I saw that, and yes, but there's also Pennywise. So there's adult monsters and there's actual monsters.
Just don't live in Derry.
Moral of the story: don't live in Derry.
Or Bangor, for that matter.
No, they're nothing alike.
Well, yeah, old Bangor's 20 miles down the road, apparently. So I haven't Mr. Keene would say something like, Eddie, 9 out of 10 doctors agree that asthma medicine gives you cancer. Just like the x-ray machines. So it actually starts with the conversation. Then we backtrack to Henry breaking his arm. I mean, there's not a lot to say about that. Henry's being Henry, and he breaks his arm.
Apparently,
although I think...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say... Second. I'll go. Yeah. Even Henry, you can tell Henry's losing his shit or has lost his shit, because now, like, every time he does something, even the people with him are like, "Whoa, dude! Like, look, I'm not in for all this. I'm like, I think Allie said last time, I'm cool with the normal bullying, but you're going over the top."
Yeah. Which I think is a particularly interesting dynamic to set up, considering we're about to meet who seems to be unanimously the town crazy Patrick Hockstetter, and I'm like, and even he is painted as worse than Henry Bowers. So I'm like, damn, these people are awful.
I think Pennywise did the world a favor.
Yeah, right.
That story was not gonna end well. But he's like one of my favorite people. Oh, he's so awful. Just the we'll get there. I'm not there yet.
One thing I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm talking about Eddie, so if you have something to say about Henry, then go ahead.
No, go
ahead. Just like, even him finding out about the whole, like, sugar water thing, a part of me is like, the whole theme this entire book has been, if you believe in it, it will help you. So why is this really that different? Like, I mean, I understand from like a health perspective that his mom has been hurting him, but like, for, I don't know, as the reader, it doesn't feel that jarring, because like Stan uses Bird Book, and like Richie used itching powder. Like it's like, whatever you believe in will help you.
Yeah, I thought that was weird in the house when Stan's like, I have nothing, and Bill's like, yes you do, you have a Bird Book. Like, so, like, you have, he said, you have your brother, I have nothing. Like, and he's like, oh, you have a Bird Book. Like, okay, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? I mean, he ends up using it, we all know that, but it was, yeah. But it was, Fucking
Is
Stan.
Bill saying that the memory of his brother is what helps him? Well, actually, yeah, I can see that. Never mind.
Well, that definitely motivates him. And then he forgets that he ever lived. So it's kind of weird. I like how, and I think he started this talking about, look at old Mr. Keene, not the nicest guy in the world. Like Stephen King decided Mr. Keene wasn't a nice guy, but in the writing, he's not. I don't know. I kind of like him. Like I'm looking back at Jake from 11/22/63. He does the same thing. What an asshole he is, but it was kind of Jake that was being the asshole. I don't see Mr.
That's
Keene.
what I said.
Like he's trying to do the right thing here, the way I see it. Like he's like, enough is enough. I can't keep taking their money and have this kid live his whole life thinking he's got asthma.
And what kind of pharmacist thinks like that? You know what I mean? Big Pharma is not known for not wanting money.
Oh, Big Pharma. Big Pharma's not there.
Yeah, right. He's a small town Big Pharma.
I mean, this is the 50s. I don't know if they had Big Pharma yet or it was just starting.
That's true.
So, yeah, I mean, I kind of like him. And my whole thing was always like, Eddie knows, yet he still does it. 30 years later, he's still hitting the damn thing, and he knows it's useless and pointless. But,
it's not,
I guess.
I don't think it's necessarily pointless because it's all about, like, he has anxiety. That is a real disease. So if there's something that he can do that doesn't hurt him, that helps him with his anxiety, then I don't think it's useless.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know. It feels useless. It seems like a placebo. Well, it is a placebo. It seems like a psychosomatic hypochondriac thing, but I mean, perception is also reality. So, yeah, but he believes in it still. He knows it's crap, but he still believes in it.
The same reason, like people who have extreme OCD, I'm sure that they know that if they don't touch the doorknob 3 times, they won't actually die, but they still do it every time.
Yeah. Do you know that for a fact?
No, I'm not a psychologist.
Have you said Candyman 5 times in the mirror?
I've said Bloody Mary 3 times, I think it is.
3 times, yeah.
I forget how many.
I've definitely done Bloody Mary.
He was the one hanging out in the cemetery, and when we were in Baltimore. You had to go to a certain gravestone and say Bloody Mary 3 times? Yeah, something like that.
She's all over the place.
She'll whore herself out to anybody. Any myth, legend that's appropriate. Was that strong? Maybe I shouldn't have used that word.
You're fine.
So Mr. Keene says it's all in your head. Grown-ups could be so hateful in their power sometimes. Thought that was interesting.
Right, like, did you want him to just keep lying to you?
He does a lot of kid perspective, which I guess makes sense because it's about kids. But he's really good at that, and he's still doing that. Like the Institute was about a bunch of kids. And he's 68 when he wrote that.
How does he remember?
That's what I'm thinking, because I was actually thinking that exact thing. It's like, so if I wrote right now, would I be able to put myself in a 12-year-old mindset? And I don't know. I don't know that. I mean, maybe once you get going, you can remember it. I don't know. Right now, like, I don't know that I want to remember 12. It wasn't one time. Adolescence.
Maybe he just goes and talks to kids and tries to regain that perspective.
Well, that's true. He doesn't have his own kids, so maybe that helped. I think, what did we say? He was around 40 or something when he wrote this. Pushing 40. He was like 39. I think he's 47, right? This came out in 86. So he probably had kids about that age at that time, so that probably helped.
Because the intro was for his kids.
Yeah, they all are. Or most, not all of them, but a lot of them. Yeah, he actually he named their ages, I think, in this, didn't he? Yeah, he did. Naomi at 14, Joe at 12, and Owen at 7. Yeah, that's perfect. So, yeah. That's one way to get back in the kid mindset is to hang out with kids.
Yeah.
They do a lot of time playing guns. I guess maybe that's what he did. Maybe there wasn't nothing else to play with in the 50s. They just went and played in the shit water and pretended they were shooting people. All right, so basically Mr. Keene freaks him out and he runs, and then Henry sees him and then he breaks his arm. Wait. Oh, so Mr. Keene was before Henry. I was thinking it was after for some reason.
Yeah, thinking about that when Henry and them run into him.
Okay, and then maybe my favorite, one of my favorite characters enters the picture, Mr. Patrick Hockstetter. So the first thing I noticed is there's a lot of Henry, there's a lot of Vic, there's a lot of Belch, there's a lot of this, there's a lot of that, but it's always Patrick Hockstetter. Patrick Hockstetter. First name, last name, every time. Until right before he dies. Then he becomes Patrick or something.
Oh, I didn't even pay attention to that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's almost like, first, last name means you're on your way up. But I haven't tested that theory yet. But I think it's like, do you watch South Park?
Mm-hmm.
You know how everybody that sucks has like half a head that comes off? Well, if you didn't know that, you know that now. Like Ike and like Saddam Hussein, like all the characters, they're not the top of their heads aren't attached. When they talk, it comes completely off.
I noticed that some of the characters did that, but I never put the connection together. Why?
Yeah, I don't know why. His little brother sucks. Everyone else is like, like Saddam Hussein or someone or the devil. Or no, I think the devil's head stays on. They actually make Saddam Hussein worse than the devil in that. But anyway, I think Patrick Hockstetter is a lot like that, the first name, last name thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. But
I don't know where.
Like Henry deserves a first and last name.
He gets a lot of Henry Bowers.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, hold on. The book just closed on me. The page I was looking at. It says, damn it, I just lost it. Oh no, the one at first it says Henry Victor Belch and Patrick Hockstetter, and then it says I think it's the next page. It says Henry Bowers and Patrick Hockstetter.
Interesting.
Yeah, Henry's all over the place. We already know he's not cool, but I mean, conversation-wise, he gets a lot of first name. But well, here's one. It had been Patrick who suggested they go down the dump, but I missed that one. So it's 90% Patrick Hockstetter, not 100%. I don't even know where he came from. Like he had him hanging out with Henry and them just to put him where he needed him to be to kill him, almost. Like what? Henry had not. Like they hadn't mentioned. Who was the other guy that didn't make it? Oh no, that was with the losers. I forget what his name was. I don't know. It's like he's introducing ancillary. I can't say that word. Ancillary characters just to get rid of them. It's like the Star Trek guy with the red shirt. You got Kirk, Spock, and the red shirt guy, so you know who's gonna die. So we can kill somebody without affecting the main character.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, if he hasn't really been with them before, why? It was like, yeah, he was there just so he could be at the dump so Beverly could see him die.
Now my theory's going to shit because the next page is Patrick.
But they do mention his first and last name a lot.
I think it looks like when he's talking, it's like Patrick said, but when the narrator's talking about him, it's Patrick Hockstetter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
conversationally, Patrick said, but Patrick Hockstetter killed babies or whatever. I don't think so. Yeah, and then this book seems weirdly focused on sexual stuff, or not focused, but there's a lot of weird. Some of the stuff he says, I'm like, I don't know about all that.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Patrick and Henry. Like it just seems maybe Patrick's so crazy he doesn't care, but there's a lot of instances like that, and there's a lot of people like, well, I can't. I probably shouldn't have brought that up till I had something in front of me, but
I don't remember exactly what it is, but that scene, it just gives me the vibes of the kid and the trash can man from The Stand. Like, and it kind of also like makes Bowers seem like the weaker one in that situation, which is interesting.
I was kind of surprised that, it was almost like he didn't know what was happening at first. I was kind of surprised that he was cool with it, and then all of a sudden he wasn't. So I don't know what flipped, but maybe he realized that he was, I don't know.
I think he's just that homophobic, that he was like, whoa, wait a second, hold on.
Right. I might like this, but I can't tell other people about it, so we gotta.
Right.
And then he's like, "I'll kill you if you." All right, I'll tell them about your refrigerator if you tell anybody or something. He says. And then Patrick's like, "Oh God, he knows about that." He said something about like of all people to have guessed his secret. He didn't expect it to be Henry or something.
Right.
Because he doesn't think anyone else is real anyways, but maybe he because Henry is also going crazy, basically, he didn't count him as extra didn't count him as a real person.
That whole didn't think anybody was real, that sounded like a bad acid trip, but it wasn't just you could tell how broken his mind is just by some of those thoughts. Jeez.
I was gonna say it sounds like a real psychopath because it easily allows you to have zero empathy.
Well, the sentence I got in front of me says he was a sociopath, and perhaps by that hot July in 1958 he had become a full-fledged psychopath.
See, that's incorrect. That's not how that works, though. They're two different. One you're born with, and one is created by a traumatic event.
Sociopath you're born with?
Other way around.
Psychopath you're born with?
Mm-hmm. Sociopaths have some slight capacity for empathy because it was something that happened to them, like a traumatic event. Whereas psychopath has no capacity.
Okay, I didn't. You've clearly invested more time than me in that, but
I was curious, so yes, I put a lot of research in it.
I thought sociopaths were beyond reproach, honest, because they don't feel feelings. They are always faking feelings. Isn't that sociopath?
They both have very similar qualities. It could be almost interchangeable, but it's it comes down to a slight capacity, and usually psychopaths, because they don't, how do I put this? They're able to lead more stable lives, and a sociopath is usually more easily it's able to tell because they're job to job, or I don't know how to explain it right now, but there are slight differences, but they have the same characteristics of deceiving people and faking emotions and not hurting people.
We're probably splitting hairs anyway. He's the worst of the worst. I thought it was interesting thinking about a child sociopath or psychopath. They're still, their personalities are still being formed. Their mind is still growing, and to be that I don't know what the word is, nuts, before you've even developed into who you're gonna be. Just imagine.
It's
your mind's still developing, and you're a sociopath already. What's it gonna be like when your mind actually develops?
Well, it's a very controversial issue because a lot of the crime stuff that I've seen, or even some movies, it's what do you do? Is a child who has the traits of, because you can't actually be diagnosed with psychopathy until you're at a certain age because of that reason. But is a child who shows all of the traits of psychopathy, are they fixable, for lack of a better word? Can they ever integrate into society in a normal way, or what do you do with them?
All right, I'm not having that debate right now. That's the age old.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, punishment is not the answer, but what do you do? Because, I guess the short answer for me would be case by case. You just have to try and help them. I mean, it doesn't, you don't just lock them up, throw away the key, and put them in a criminally insane asylum and say have a nice life. I think you should always try, at least. I don't know. There people that say they're not fixable. They're just not fixable until they are. That just means we haven't figured out how to fix them yet, I think. But the brain's a weird thing. There's so much. The thing about the brain is we have to study it from within the confines of the brain itself. So it's limiting.
Yeah.
So it's a weird. Somebody said, I think it was National Geographic. Somebody said that. Like, you have to study it from within it itself. So think about how hard that is. Like, that's a good point.
Yeah. So again, like you said, Pennywise did the world a favor.
Yeah. So no one, not even, what do you say? Not even Henry knew how Patrick crazy really was. How crazy Patrick really was.
Which is still insane to me when I read things like that, because again, this whole time we've been like, Henry's going insane, he's losing his mind, he's losing his shit, and then it's now like, oh, but he's not as bad as this kid. And you're like, what the hell?
It almost normalizes Henry, right?
Right.
He's been so awful this whole time. You're like, oh, he's nothing. With a broken arm and an H on a stomach compared to this guy.
And don't forget, he threw M80s at Mike's face.
Right? Well, that's okay. He also killed his dog. Like, yeah, I mean, Henry's not a nice guy at all, by any stretch. In fact, but he's just your normal run-of-the-mill, doing 20 to life probably by the time he's 18.
Like, yeah, he'll grow out of that. Actually, no, probably not. He's got some deep-seated racism and violence.
He'll grow out of it after he spends 15 years in jail and decides he's sorry and finds God.
We looking at my notes, we went past it already, but I did want to mention the smell that Bev talked about. I thought that was a great way to put it, because I think it also confirms our theory of the fact that there hasn't been sexual assault yet, but it's certainly looming on the horizon.
Yeah.
How the smell between her and her dad.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was weird.
She said it's only present when it's just the two of them, and she said that he's been spending a lot more time outside of the house because he knows that, like, he's about to lose his control. Like,
yeah, so she's developing and, getting boobs and butt and all that, and he can't take it, so he's staying away.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's his 12-year-old daughter. What the?
I know, it's
well, adults in Derry are definitely monsters.
All the options, though. I mean, it's better that he stays away than hangs around her.
Well, I guess that's
true.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely the better of the two things he could do. So.
But if I was Bev, I mean, especially being a 12-year-old girl, 12-year-old girl, like, that would be so terrifying. Like, like, I'm sure she can feel it. You know what I mean?
Well, she's the one that talks about it, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, she's the one that talks about it, and she knows something is happening, but it seemed like she didn't know what it was. Like, she didn't know what that could lead to.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knew something was wrong. She knew something was off, but she's not really old enough to know what her, what's happening to her dad, I guess.
Yeah.
For a better way to put it.
Thank God for the innocence of youth in that sense.
Right. Well, I'm sure she knows now. I don't remember, but I don't think anything ever actually happened with them like that.
With her dad or with the losers?
With her dad. Well, the losers is wait till we get to that part. With her dad, I mean, anything sexual is just smacked her in the face, I think, and then.
Yeah.
I guess that's where he drew the line. Normal child abuse was all right.
Yeah, I don't remember anything with her dad.
So far that we've read, there hasn't been any sexual abuse. So I think some people said that there are hints at it, but I disagree. I think the line has been clearly drawn that it's been physical, mental, emotional, but not sexual yet, and that's why it's so scary, because it's like it's coming. She's becoming a woman, and they can both tell it's coming.
Yeah, it's almost like there's those undertones the whole time, like the other thing I said, that like the suggestion of it, but it's not overtly saying it's happening. But
right.
But at the same time, I don't know that it will ever happen, because he's, at least for now, he's aware, I guess, of his weakness and trying to make sure he doesn't succumb to that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't remember exactly what happens, but we're getting to the end here anyway. So I'm sure something happens after the fight with Pennywise where she's like, "You're not gonna touch me." Like,
yeah, you would hope. By the time her and Richie from the Ditchy are hanging out,
right?
I don't actually remember, so I'm hoping she goes home and says, "Fuck you, don't touch me again," or something like that.
Yeah.
I just killed a 10,000-year-old monster. You're nothing.
Yeah.
For some reason, my brain is saying her mom gets more involved. Like her mom finally realizes what's happening and has had enough and is like, no, you don't touch my daughter. She and I are leaving.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because like I said, most of my memories apparently from the movie, because I didn't remember Mom being in the book at all. So I'm glad she made an appearance, and I hope she doesn't just sit back and I hope she's not aware of what's happening between the two of them. But she does say even something about even her mom noticed it to a point or something when she's talking about the smell and the weird energy. That it was mostly when her mom wasn't there, but even when she was there, she could, I don't know, I don't have it in front of me, but something like that. Yeah, so then Henry says, "I'll tell him you're a cocksucker." I thought that was interesting. You gonna tell him whose cock that was when you're at it? Patrick, I love Patrick as a character, not as an actual person. I need to draw that line. So, I'm reading his parts. So, what he cared, I like. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I have a note from. First of all, he's also only 12 years old, which is insane to think of a 12-year-old doing these things.
Right, and he's worked up to this point.
But they're talking about him in school, and there's a comment about how it's easy to ignore Patrick when you had to cope with boys like Henry Bowers or Victor Christ, who were actively disruptive and insolent, boys who would steal. But they also admit to knowing about him frequently touching other girls and like being a creep and acting like that's not actively disruptive and insolent either. I'm like, so you still don't think those are warning signs?
Yeah, and he was allowed to. Yeah, what was it? They didn't want to sit in front of him because he would like grab their ass or something.
I don't remember.
There was something he was doing. It didn't seem like sexual in nature. It seemed, more, I don't know, creepy, sociopathic in nature. Maybe that's just because I know too much about him.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was enough for them to be like, we didn't put him near the girls anymore.
Oh yeah, they say that, but
lube or something.
Yeah,
it was like the 50s, and they had 27 other students to worry about, and he wasn't a behavioral problem, so they didn't worry about it. Like,
right.
Whoa,
he was just a little creepy.
Yeah, him and all the other people. I mean, I get what he's saying, and it does kind of make sense, and keep telling myself it was the 50s, but it was actually the 80s when he wrote it, so I don't know how I feel about all that. But it's, if you're not being a problem in the class, you're not, committing a crime, you're not harassing anybody.
But he was harassing people. That's my point. He was harassing the girls, and they acted like that was not a big deal.
Yeah, they do, and then. But because at the same time they're saying he's not a behavior problem. It's like, well, isn't that a behavior problem?
Right. I'm like, that's also bad, but okay, maybe that's the 60s or 50s.
Yeah, not back then it wasn't. Like what he cared about was the rules were being broken or had changed since Avery's arrival. 2, Avery's possible reality and the possibility that they might throw him out of favor of Avery. So now he's worried that Avery might be real. So the whole Avery thing is kind of hard to read, but
yeah,
I was interested. He makes Patrick seem like a cat with a toy. He's like, oh, when I put the pill here, ooh, what happens? Ooh, I take it off and I'll put it back on again. So, ooh, what happens this time? Like, ooh, I have to do a little, like, he's not he's just curious. He doesn't care one bit about the kid dying or any of that. He's just curious to see what happens when I do this, and now what happens when I do this. And then the kid dies, and he just goes. And I think he's almost validated, and I wrote that, not validated, but he's right in that everybody's ignoring him because not one person checked on him in the 4 hours after, all the shit hit the fan. He just sat there. He marks time by what show is on, which I found interesting. So he sat there and watched TV for, 6 different TV shows, and nobody even, looked at him except his dad. I think he says his dad came in with sniffing distance of the truth because he saw the wet footprints. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like, well, he was kind of right. They did ignore him and they didn't care about him. But that doesn't justify anything. But the way, I don't know how do you say it. His thoughts almost weren't too far off the mark with that. Now his reaction to those thoughts was off the mark, but it wasn't necessarily wrong in that.
I don't know. I don't necessarily think that they were ignoring him. I'm trying to read that section now. His dad actually didn't go and check on him. It just mentions how he
didn't check on him.
The prince, and then left the room, slamming the door behind him.
Yeah, I like how he marks the time with. Then at first I watched this, and then this was on. And then that was on.
I think the way that I'm reading it, I get the impression that he's sitting in the living room watching TV, and these people are coming over. Not like they're ignoring him, but.
Well, that's the way I picture it. It's almost like a montage where you see him sitting there watching TV, eating his cookies, and people were running around fast forward behind him while all the shit's hitting the fan. He's in front of the TV and everything's going crazy behind him, and nobody's even gave him a second thought, which makes sense
because
at first.
He's 5, so they don't know how much he knows, they don't know how much he can handle,
Was he really only 5 when he did that?
Yeah.
4 or 5, yeah. I think it said the doctor checked on him, they gave him a pill or something.
Yeah.
Oh, and he was like,
that's about it.
I like pills, so I took it or something.
He didn't mind. Yeah, Patrick didn't mind.
Yeah, his kid's broken. What happened to him? It had to be something.
It makes sense from the context of him explaining that he thinks nothing is real, so he doesn't care if it lives or dies because he doesn't think it's alive. Yeah,
well, he was very disturbed by the fact that Avery might be real, so I guess he had to kill him to make sure he didn't become real. I sort of get the whole reality thing, but I think it's just him trying to explain how his mind's broken and the way he thinks, but it's also kind of weird. Like I said, it sounds like a bad acid, but I guess, it's someone that's had a break with reality, I guess is what I was about to say, but he clearly has, so I guess it does make sense in that way. Mm-hmm. Although, you have to be real to have a break from reality, right?
But he is real. He thinks he's real.
Oh, that's true. He's the only one that is. I like how when he's about to, or when he dies, or when he wakes up and he's getting drugged into the sewers, he's like something about, but I'm the only one that's real. This can't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he kills his brother, and then we fast forward to the refrigerator.
That was also hard to read, the animals and
the damn puppies.
Yeah.
I was just on that page where he put the one took a really long time to die. When he went back the next day, it jumped out and licked him in the face. Oh. And so we put it back in, and then the next day it was the one took 4 days to die, and he kept checking on it. All the other ones were at least pretty quick about it. Ugh, what an awful way to go. I wonder if this was summer or winter. Which one's worse?
It's summer. Oh, you mean when they were killed? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, did they... Well, I don't know. I guess, how do you die? Do you suffocate in the refrigerator, I guess? Because the rubber seal, you can't get any air?
I don't know.
That was always... remember 1950s refrigerators had that big metal handle? There was a click to open it. That was why there was always a thing about getting stuck in the fridge, because you couldn't just push it open. Because
Yeah.
it like clicked, it had like a latch that clicked it shut to make sure the air didn't get out.
I mean, it would be air or food eventually, and water. So I don't know.
Well, if it's summer, you'd probably
Or
wet
heat.
to death. If it's winter,
Yeah.
you'd probably freeze to death. That's what I was thinking. Which one would be worse?
It would
Heat.
almost insulate you
Heat.
from the weather, though.
Well, yeah, to a point. All you need is a little air. Either way, the fact that he has a pet refrigerator that he kills things in.
Yeah, I told Amber that when I read this for the first time, I just remember sobbing while reading the Patrick Hockstetter part. Like, I hated it so much.
Yeah, it's very. Stephen King in this book a few times puts the reader directly into the mind of the bad people, and it's very uncomfortable. I think it's necessary to the story, but it's still uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, and just like it's so weird and such good writing, and the way that he can simultaneously put you in the mind of the bad person, but also like show you what the other party is experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that like insane shift in such a small section that just threw me for a loop.
There's a lot of that in this book. A lot of, here's 5 pages of what the bad people are doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh god.
It's like watching a movie.
Like I'm fascinated by Hockstetter and totally invested in the character, and I don't want anything to do with him at the same time.
Well, I also think that like it's such a, because you're in Patrick's mind, sort of, even though it's all this weird narrative, it's so nonchalant, like the way he talks about it. It's just like, you know, we just went over it. And then on the third die, he could barely only roll its eyes toward the door. Like there's no sympathy, there's no remorse, there's no emotion. It's just, this is what happened.
Yeah. By the time he was watching Inside Space, the doctor had shown up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is. The doctor observed Patrick's deep, calm, and unquestioning stare and assumed he was in shock.
Right, because he's 5.
Yeah. You want him to take a pill? He didn't mind. Maybe we should stop giving 5-year-olds pills. Of course, his latest victim had been a pigeon he discovered where else but on Jackson Street. There's only 2 streets in Derry, as we all know.
Did it say, of course, in the story, or did you say that?
No, I said that.
Oh, I was like, wow, that's really nonchalant.
That would be admitting some things I don't think he was ready to do with his own.
Yeah.
He was. So, Amber, did you get to Stand By Me?
Oh, I don't think so. What?
Although Patrick was afraid of almost, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Allie,
King definitely came across leeches at one point in his life.
I think it might have been a regular thing as a Maine kid tramping through the woods, you know? But these leeches are so much worse.
Sorry, I cut you off though. Were you gonna ask her if she's seen Stand By Me?
I was, yeah.
I've seen the movie. I have not read the short.
Do you remember the leeches?
Vaguely. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
They're not good. You know, they go swimming and they come up out of the water and there's leeches all over them, and Gordy has one on his nuts. But, you know, I was thinking about that. They say how they put a numbing thing so you don't even know they're there, so it wouldn't be that bad pulling it off, right? Other than the thought of what's going on. But
well, that's what it was. Don't forget, right before this happened, they were all like finally having a good time and like having fun, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh god, what's all over us?
Right. You're in a Stephen King book. The fun's over.
Yep.
So yeah, these leeches are a lot worse.
Way worse. They fly, for one thing.
Yeah, they fly. I don't even know if leeches is the right word. What do they call them? Flying leeches?
I think so.
Jelly-like eyeless head held on. I love that. So they're smacking them, like the body's splattering, but the head's still sucking away in their.
Yeah, like you can't, like normal leeches, you tear them off and they're done. But these ones don't stop.
Yeah, a dime-sized hole in his arm. Like, oh my God, that's not little.
No.
I love it.
It also has bird-like qualities. Sorry.
Yeah, I saw that. Like a bird's narrow head ending in a beak-like structure.
Yeah.
But this beak was tubular. Yeah, so this is like a proboscis, that's what I see, a big flying mosquito when I read this.
Yeah.
Maybe with orange hair or something on its face. So yeah, that's exactly what I pictured. A giant mosquito that has a really long proboscis thing. I don't know what it's called. I guess I feel like there should be an easier word for
beak.
that. Yeah, they're
like
two
trunk.
So yeah, then he, I almost feel bad for the way he died because that was rough. But he kind of got what was coming to him.
Yeah, I don't feel bad.
I like Patrick. I like the character. I wish he could have stuck around and grew up and made a book about him. That would have been interesting.
So he could kill more people.
Oh, yeah.
Kill people. I guess he never killed anyone yet, but he was getting there.
Right. I'd like to see the evolution.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh my God.
Yeah, I guess he counts as a person.
I forgot. He's not real.
No, not anymore. He made sure of that.
Also, real quick, there's a line here. I love when Stephen King does this. It's like Patrick opened the refrigerator door on his own death.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah.
If he'd have just done this and then went this way, none of this would happen. But he did.
Yep.
He opened the door on his own death. Like, well, gee, I wonder what's going to happen. So that, you know what he does though. So you have this sense of trepidation the whole time because it's not going to end well. So all right, what's going to happen? So you're reading it, going, okay, when's it going to get bad?
That's a good point. You already know he's going to die, so you're already even more afraid this whole time. But you have to get through it.
You have this nervous energy. You're like, as soon as I saw this, I forgot how he died. I knew it had something to do with the refrigerator, but I thought honestly he got stuck on the fridge or something.
Yeah, me too.
So, and then when it was the big flying thing in the dime-sized hole, was it clicked in my head. Oh God, there's a bunch of these. Yeah. And then they open he opens the refrigerator, I think, and a bunch fly out. Isn't that the way that goes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because when Bev comes across them, I can't remember exactly, but she knows that they're in there.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. So that's a whole other thing. There was no pain, but there was a hideous draining sensation. That sounds worse for some reason.
Oh,
he could feel the blood coming out of him.
Parasites hung all over him. Ugh.
And they weren't little; they were big fuckers with their dime-sized holes putting in them everywhere. So.
Oh, there's one in his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it bursts in his mouth. He's like, "What does he say? Don't close it. Don't close it." Or, yeah, left was that it must not burst in there. It must not, but it did.
God, could you imagine watching this too? He fell down in the gravelly dirt and began to roll over and over, still screaming.
This is such an awesome visual scene. How come this has not been in any of the movies?
Because it's awful.
It might be too much, yeah.
Well, because in order to have them in the fridge, you kind of have to have the animal cruelty part, which no producing company is going to touch.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean,
too
they
much
did
PETA, ASPCA, all that.
They did Pet Sematary. Although I guess that was an
animal abuse.
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, it ended up. Well, yeah, I guess not. He was already dead. You can't abuse him. I like the end. He awoke only once, when in some dark, smelly, dripping hell where no light shone, it began to feed. Which, and I think Mike mentions this later. What exactly does it eat? And I think we had that.
I like that, fear and power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. So Pennywise or something. It was Pennywise that says hello and goodbye, right? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
A bubbling voice said from inside the running tallow of its features. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was wondering though, like, what is the figure? Is he seeing Bev's dad? Because isn't that who she thinks he sees? She thinks she sees from far away?
She's like, that can't be right because that sounded like her father. She didn't see him. It sounded like.
Yeah.
So, and then in Patrick, maybe the figure is just Pennywise, but he said at first Patrick thought he was a guy and he would be saved, but as he drew closer, his face was running like wax. So I'm like, did he show him Bev's dad? Like, that's so weird.
I think
feel
it was.
like. Sorry, go.
No, go ahead.
I feel like Pennywise could almost sense that Bev was there, but she wasn't the one that he wanted at that point. So he was kind of trying to figure out what shape to take, and it went to Bev's dad when he sensed her, maybe. But because Patrick had no emotions, therefore no fear, it was like, well, what the heck do I turn into for this kid?
Yeah.
I think. Well, I see. I wrote that down. Did Pennywise know she was there? Is that why it sounded like her dad in the first place? And is that why when they go back, I don't know, what, an hour later? I forget. He says how long later, but the mosquito things are still there. Like, what would be the point in leaving and them still being there if he didn't know they were there? And he knows they're gonna come back because he leaves them a note.
Right. That's a good point.
I think Patrick. I think the whole face melting thing was it just changing shape. I don't know what it looked like for Patrick, and maybe it looked like her dad, but like they say, like it. Nobody sees it. They see what it looks into their mind and project. They see what it pulls from them. Nobody sees it in its natural state. So I think with the whole runny face thing, I think it was maybe transforming into his natural state before it ran away or disappeared or fed or whatever it was.
That's not what I'm saying, though. That I definitely agree with. I'm just saying, like, it's funny if he was actually Bev's dad, like, trying to scare her while killing him. Like, if that was the man that he saw and then it turned into Pennywise.
I'm not sure what Patrick saw.
Yeah.
I don't. Here, let's see.
It doesn't really say.
He saw a figure step from behind the last of the junk cars. At first, he thought he was a guy, but as a figure drew closer, his face was running like wax. You know, maybe it was her dad. Because if it was a guy, and then maybe I still think because it knew Bev was there, so it probably was her dad.
Yeah, and
it was changed as it came after Patrick. It was changing back to either its normal state or something away from looking like her dad. Maybe it was pulling something from Patrick's mind at that point because it was done with Bev. Because they were. That's when he was dragging him away. When he actually saw the figure. Well, I don't know. Either way, what a way to go. Wake up in a complete darkness and something eating you. Like, yep, I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Like, I wish I was not awake now.
I mean, if you think about it, the darkness is the most terrifying part when you can't see a thing. And something bad's going on.
Also, the first time I read that sentence, I thought it said, like, hole, not hell, which I think is also interesting.
Droopy hole where no light shone? Well...
Yeah, like probably, under the sewer.
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And then...
And like
he has the magic bullet, but...
Well, I was gonna say, like you said, this thing right after comes and hurts her. Like Patrick's visions or whatever, the things that were created for him are still left behind, and harming her.
Yeah, like it's dragged him into the sewers at this point, but the bugs are still. She has to shoot one, and as a matter of fact, and by the way, she needs help from the turtle to hit it because she was way off, and it curved it into the thing to hit it. I am amazed that the turtle's not made an appearance yet. I thought it had a much bigger role.
Me too. I remember it being way more prominent. Yeah.
So he must be really involved in the end. because there's the whole Matoran and Pennywise and traveling through the universe, and
I've got to imagine, like, I don't remember reading this the first time, but you got to be so confused or not caring about this turtle. Like, they keep mentioning it, maybe you don't even pick it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, I'd be like, why the fuck did he mention turtle wax? Like, I don't care if it looks like a turtle. But I mean, there's a couple vague references to something else helping them, like curving the slug.
Yeah, like an outside force. The matches all being unburnt.
So, any good story, evil is in your face and good is hiding. So just
is
like
that true?
Well, just like religion. You see the devil, you never see God.
Oh.
The devil can possess you, and God's just like, hey, how about like I get this priest to do it because I'm busy right now. like he doesn't interact directly.
That's a good point. I never thought about that.
So like Steve, like the stand, flags right there, but then you have to have the white mysteriously show up at the end to Deus Ex Machina the whole thing. That still makes me mad.
Yeah, you could have just done that. You could have just done that in Las Vegas to begin with. Like, zap, you're done.
Hell, you could have done that 700 pages ago and saved me a month. It wouldn't have been the same story, but I never liked the end of that book. I was like, what? They Allie, have you read The Stand?
No.
No.
All right, never mind.
Yeah, don't talk about it.
So, back on point.
The turtle helps her shoot it.
Oh, that's what it is. 4 hours later, all the losers, except Eddie. When I first read that, I was like, of course Eddie wasn't there. He's not going to go to a nasty refrigerator and... What?
He's in the hospital, that's why.
Right, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But I was like, the hypochondriac that's on an aspirator he doesn't need is not going near that nasty-ass refrigerator. And then I was like, oh yeah, his arm is broken. I forgot. But I think even if Eddie was there, he would have been hanging back pretty far.
Mm-hmm.
They find I just can't imagine being 11, 12 years old and like going through all this. My God. Like, they should have all been scarred for life. And all they did was forget it ever happened.
Well, that's also something that trauma does.
Well, that's true. Maybe that was a good thing.
It was probably both. They probably were scarred for life and also forgot it ever happened.
Well, yeah, if they didn't forget it would ever happen, the book would have been a lot shorter because we wouldn't have had to remember everything. That's all it is so far as adults, is them remembering everything, telling stories. Like, now it's Ben's turn. Now it's Ben's turn.
True, but then I feel like we would have just seen it happen instead of being told about it.
Maybe in real time. There would have been two parts. In 1958 and 1985. Instead of the way he intertwines it. Yeah, I mean, they find blood on the trail, then they find a bloody sneaker, and then they find something, and at that point, I'm turning around and going to my house. Oh, I don't care what's up there. I think
like her house is much safer.
Well, you know what I mean. In theory, generally speaking, like, I don't know what's up there, and I don't want nothing to do with it. Matter of fact, can we move to California?
Right. That's always been my thing too. Like, if I see something or I hear something, I'm like, I'm gonna not investigate that. Everything is great. Good night.
Nice. Was it stupid white people in the movies?
Yeah.
Oh, what was that? Let's go. First, we'll split. Have you seen the Geico? Is it the Geico commercial?
Yeah.
Let's go hide behind the row of chainsaws.
Yeah.
Why don't we get in the running car? And he's like, are you crazy? So they're notoriously bad at making good decisions. So it's 4 hours later. They're back at the fridge, and the things are still there, right? I don't remember how this goes.
It's also so weird because I still like, these things are Pennywise's creations. So like, how much, like, adults can't see any of that. They can't see the injuries, like the blood, or like even that, because like Bev got bit, so nobody who's not a kid would be able to see that too, right? Like, it's so weird.
Yeah, what if he didn't treat it? She had to pull the thing's head off too, like Patrick did. So she's got a dime-sized hole. So what if she just like let it bleed? Would she bleed to death, or is it imaginary blood?
Right, imaginary infection.
Yeah, which I think is fancy for psychosomatic.
What if it's a supernatural infection?
Yeah, like I said, the rules are weird where he comes from.
Yeah.
If she just goes, that didn't happen, then she's good.
Well, no, then she's Stan, and she kills herself.
Fucking Stan. I think I wrote that later on when he starts being a bitch again. Fucking
I
Stan.
almost feel like he shouldn't have told us that he killed himself until the end, although that wouldn't work because they were meeting up as adults. But it really does change your whole perception of him the whole time as a kid. Like, you already kind of write him off because you're like, who cares what you have to say? You quit.
Yeah, quitter. You didn't want to face a fucking million-year-old monster. What the hell's wrong with you? You know, the same one that ate all the people you knew before. So, and I noticed in this chapter, Richie does a lot of screaming and hemming and hawing and not wanting anything to do with this. He's kind of a bitch. In fact, I wrote that. I'm like, Richie is a bitchy. Like, I don't remember him being that fraidy cat before. Like, that's the vibe I get. Like, he's almost like Stan, where he wants nothing to do with it, but he doesn't run away. He just, stays terrified the whole time.
Well, wasn't it recently that Richie did the whole thing with Mike, the smoke hut, where they saw it come. Like, I think his experience is a little different now after some of the things he's been through.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that hasn't made a movie. That just smoke hole's not in any movie, right?
I don't remember. Not in the first one. I don't think it's in this. I don't remember the second versions.
I don't think it was in the second, but I don't think I've seen part 2 since we were in the theater. No, like, I have it on my thing and I just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
Since we got kicked out for our onions, or for my onions. We tried to sneak a Subway sub in, but you could smell the onions, so the guy wouldn't let me go in. Made me take it out.
What?
Yeah, he cared way too much about us, dude.
That's hilarious.
And like, it wasn't like it was a theater full of people. I think there might have been 2 other people in the whole, so it wasn't like it would have bothered anybody else.
It was BS anyway, because then I said, okay, but my sandwich doesn't have any toppings on it, so can I bring it in? And he said, no, I can still smell it. I'm like, you cannot. It's ham and cheese.
I almost called him Karen. Shut up, Karen. So yeah, I don't remember. I don't think the smoke hole is in there.
I don't really understand the point of the smoke hole anyway. We said that last time, so I don't blame them.
I guess just to tell you real quick where it came from, how long it's been here. This isn't new. It's not 1700 or 1600. It's
millions.
Dinosaur, I think, were running around or something.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like they kind of threw that into the ritual part in the second movie.
Oh.
They might have. Yeah,
I don't remember.
We're gonna watch that again. Oh, I'm not gonna watch it before we watch it. I could be surprised.
Yeah, same. I don't think I've seen it since the theater either.
No, I've seen it. Well, I've seen the first 30 minutes of the part 1 100 times because I always put it on and then I never finish it. I'm like, yep, Georgie's dead. Now what? And then Richie of all people is the one that says, "Don't worry, we're not going to chicken out." So like he's a fraidy cat, but he's willing to see it through. So it's kind of a weird vibe. In fact, he's the one that says, "Is there anyone else here? Is there anyone here who's going to chicken out?" And they all say no. I'd have been like, "Hell yeah, I'll see you guys later."
I do think, remember, because he had a hard time even admitting that what he saw was real with the statue and everything. So I think he's
even
trying
27 years later.
Right. He's trying to convince himself that he's not going to chicken out. I think he's struggling.
Yeah, he's like, Richie saw it first and screamed. A high hurt sound. They do a lot of screaming, not only when they're laughing, just regular screaming.
And shrieking.
Yeah, well, shrieking is out. They do that at some point later on in here. All right, so, yeah, I guess they vanquished the bugs. I don't really remember how that went. Oh,
there really weren't any there, yeah.
All right,
yeah.
Okay, the pom-poms, the note when they come back. So, yeah, they sneak up on it and try to open it, I think with a fishing line or something from far away, and the pom-poms come out.
Yeah.
And it says, Richie saw it first and screamed. A high hurt sound.
It is interesting that he would write that because it's like clearly he's afraid. Like what? It's just I'm assuming it's like stupid. Like stop.
They keep saying that like he's afraid. I'm like, that's a dangerous road to go down. I wouldn't assume he's afraid. I think maybe he's. I guess yes, he's afraid to a point, but I don't think he's afraid to the point that he thinks they can actually do anything to him because he's been doing this for how long. So I think.
What is he? Is he just trying to scare them, or like what is he even saying? Stop! Like stop trying to kill me because he's going to kill them regardless.
Well, he's going to eat them regardless. I think is the way he sees it. So he wants them to be scared.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Or like stop resisting being eaten.
It might just be simple. He might be intrigued because I don't think he's come across anyone before this that has beaten him like this many times in a row. Most of them would have been dead by now and eaten and in the sewer. So he's like, wow, what is up with these people? Like, how do they keep beating me?
Plus,
so I don't.
That also, I think, adds to our theory of the fact that he definitely knew Bev was there, like you were saying, because he's leaving all these other crumbs to keep scaring them. Like, look what I can do. You want to be like him?
Right. If he didn't know she was there, he definitely knew they were coming back. But if he knew they were coming back, then he kind of had to know she was there in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, then Bill yells at it. I like the image where they all kind of huddle around and then it starts raining and they're sitting there in the rain swearing they're going to kill it and all that.
I remember that happens in the movie.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm remembering because I can see that perfectly.
Him saying, "You killed my brother, George. You killed him, you bastard."
Yeah.
You need to listen to the audiobook because he stutters. Every time the book stutters, he stutters. So he's like, "You."
No, he doesn't stutter in that sentence. I'm reading it right now.
Well, I know. I'm reading it too. I was more of a general point than okay. Bad example, but.
Well, yeah, I know. I understand. I would like to hear it.
Help me. Yeah, Bill said. Please, like, oh my God, just like it makes you feel like they do. Like, just say it. Like, you just want to finish the goddamn sentence for him. It must be so uncomfortable to be around someone that stutters like that because you don't know what to do.
We actually have maybe we shouldn't. We know someone that stutters.
Yeah.
So am I right or am I off?
No, you're right.
Yeah. Does it make you want to
like you want to finish their sentences, but you also don't want to like make them feel bad?
Right. Like someone is trying to get out of their wheelchair or something. Like I want to help them, but I want them to do it themselves. Okay. Pennywise has really bad penmanship, by the way, for the record.
I had a little bit of a hard time reading that section. I was like, "Kill you, Will? Kill you?" What is it?
Yeah. Yeah. What is that word after you?
I didn't even notice that. I just
kill you all. Oh, okay. Kill you all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like a word to the wise. Yeah. You'd think after this time he'd be able to, write a little better.
I just love that when he
not after finger painting with blood.
Well, maybe it's scarier.
True.
Yeah, it's the first time he's ever done it. Shit.
Maybe it's scarier because it's all sloppy. Like if it was in like perfect font, maybe it'd be like, oh, that wasn't Pennywise.
Maybe it makes it scary. As a matter of fact, Michelle showed me on Word. There's a font called Chiller, and it looks all creepy like that. So
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I love that one. Between that and my Iron Maiden font, I'm good to go.
My favorite is the American Horror Story one.
Oh, I don't know if I have that one. I have to see. I'm actually started watching that now that it's over. It is over, right?
Season 10?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have them all on the DVR, so I started watching them. I don't know if I like the blonde chick as much as Sarah Paulson. I can't remember her name.
You're in the first double? First episode?
Allie, have you seen it?
I've seen some seasons, but not the most recent. I watched Up the Coven.
So I'm still in the first half. We haven't made it to the second half.
Yeah. It's I'm gonna let you watch it before I tell you anything I feel about it.
Okay.
Except for I like that the first half has very much Stephen King vibes, like with it's almost like Maine and
yeah, I think they freely admit that at some point. The writers, they're like, oh yeah, well, Stephen King, sure, he's why we're doing this.
Exactly.
So then it's Ben's turn, and so then we do Neibolt Street. I think we kind of talked about this already. But...
Yeah, the whole making of the bullets wasn't that interesting. I was like, great, or not slugs. They're not. Excuse me, not bullets. They're slugs.
Bullets will never work. Something I forget why.
Oh yeah, that crazy old man. I forgot about that.
Yeah, in the library. I guess is he the reason they didn't try bullets? Because how did they? Here's what I've said: bullets will work if you believe they'll work.
Wait, does that mean that old man was influenced by the turtle?
Maybe. The turtle's a shady guy. He hasn't even shown up yet, so I don't know what he's up to. He's doing some universe hopping stuff. He's probably at Keystone Earth doing something.
And also, yeah, I didn't mean to blow by your point there. Like, why wouldn't bullets work if all of this is imaginary to begin with?
Well, if you believe it works, it works. So if the bullet works. The slugs worked because they believed it worked from the movies. So.
Right, I was gonna say, I guess because movies have told us that. Wait, no, but silver bullets work too. Like, yeah, that's fine.
It's definitely silver bullets. Matter of fact, the movie, the book he wrote is called Silver Bullet, not Silver Slug.
That's such a weird distinction. Like, why? I guess because maybe the only thing I can think is because they're kids and he knows they wouldn't have access to a gun.
They did, though, because that was what Bill brought to Neibolt House the first time he went.
Yeah, they did have a gun.
Oh, that's right. He took his dad's, right?
Nobody kills the werewolf in the movies they watched with a gun. Or at least silver bullet. I don't know. Maybe it was just easier to use a slingshot because they had... You would have to, in order for that to work, you would have to have made a bullet that fit the gun they were using, and you can't go down to the guy at the corner and say, "I need one for this gun," and because at that point he might be like, "Okay, what are you up to?"
Yeah.
Because when they just needed the shoulder just flared up. When they needed the plug, he was just like, "Yeah, I got one here. Take that." But if they went, "I need a, 9mm silver bullet casing," he'd been like, "What are you up to?" Then again, it's Derry, and he probably would have been just like, "Yeah, sure, I got 10 back there. Here you go." Like, don't kill anything I would.
Yeah. Although he did ask them, he was like, "What are you up to with these?" And I don't even remember what they told him, but because Richie. Oh, where the heck is that section? They said something like, "Ever notice that unless we're buying candy or comics, they want to know why you're purchasing something?" And the other one said it's because they think we're dangerous.
Maybe. There's the whole love triangle with Ben and Bill and Bev. Although nobody knows about it, I guess, except Ben.
I was gonna say, it's not really a love triangle. It's just she likes Bill and Ben likes Bev.
Yeah, he's like, Bill just started to like her. He just realized that's what someone earlier. Like, he's just starting to notice her or something.
Ben sees Bill see Bev as a woman for the first time.
Yeah, he's like, "Fine, but you'll never love her like I do." So yeah, they make the bullets, and then they go back to Neibolt Street. I like the house. Might lose you for a second on this alley. It reminds me of the house Eddie came through.
I was thinking that too.
It seems very stretchy and elongated, and it does a lot of the same things. So I think that's just a thing he likes to do with his house, haunted houses, I guess.
Well, especially houses that are portals.
Yeah, well, that's true. They're both portals. I like how the flowers are still black from the leopard. Kind of like, okay, that really happened. So,
but do they look black to everyone else?
Well, that's a good question. There's not like I don't know how like the way I picture this house. It's all like dark and nasty, kind of like the movie. It's like how does that house just get away with being like that and nobody notices anything amiss?
It's scary.
Like just yeah. I mean, I guess that's the answer. So they go to Neibolt Street. I mean, I don't know. They face the werewolf again, right? Oh yeah, the snarling werewolf, and it's got the feet, and it's got the it's even got the Derry high school jacket on it. I always picture Teen Wolf like Michael J. Fox.
Yes, me too.
Backing up just a little bit in the Neibolt house, because I know Eddie, you read Desperation, and the rat basically taunting Beverly and wanting to get her to shoot it made me think of Desperation.
Remind me.
So when they like first get into the house and make their way into the kitchen.
No. Remind me of the Desperation.
Oh, like when he had control over all of the animals, like the snakes were doing his bidding, and the he actually got the mountain lion to go to the theater and attack them. Well,
wait. Have you read Amber Desperation?
No, but I won't remember, so it's okay.
I think Tack and Pennywise are both from the Kodash place in Dark Tower. So
yeah, but just reading that, the rat wanted me to shoot it, use up half our ammunition on it. I was like, oh, that kind of solidifies in my mind that they're probably from the same universe.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense because well, I think Pennywise was controlling the rat. Desperation. I don't know what to tell you about that, Amber, because you're gonna have to read it.
I will read it. And I'm saying I probably won't remember anything you tell me if you're worried about spoilers.
It's basically like this Pennywise thing takes over the town to the point that it's controlling everything, and it's killed just about everybody, and I think it has killed everybody in the town.
Yeah.
And it traps, like it sets up a situation where it traps them to make them come to the town. I don't really remember what the point was. And then they're trying to escape from it, capital I. And there's a little bit of a gaudy, turtle-y thing going on as well in that one.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like he wrote himself into a corner again and he didn't know how to get out of it.
I mean, that is probably exactly what happens because he openly admits that's how he writes.
So, but yeah, if you read that, or when you read that, you have to read The Regulators right after it.
Yeah, I remember you told me that.
Yeah, I still need to get to The Regulator. I have it, I just haven't read it yet.
No, it's the same people in different situations.
Yep.
Or the same character names, not the same people. Like that. It's not the people that went through the stuff in Desperation. They don't then go through The Regulators, but they have the same names. It's like he wrote them both at once. So I do so much coke, he couldn't fucking just keep it all in one book. I wish I had those problems.
I'm just like the things, like never mind. The things he does with his coke addictions.
Right. Way to be productive. It's a Norway rat, by the way. I think that's a Stephen Kingism. I don't know what a Norway rat is, but I feel like I've heard that in a lot of his books. I don't. Is that different than a Swedish rat? I'm not real sure.
I've never heard rats named by countries.
Yeah, all I can think is it's just a rat. Like the rat that I'm picturing is probably a Norway rat. Although, have you seen Graveyard Shift? I'm assuming those are Norway rats. Because that's a Stephen King book.
I thought that was the short stories.
It is. I'm saying book, just generally speaking.
Oh, okay.
Graveyard Shift is in Night Shift, I think.
Oh.
So, it's, they clean out the basement and there's a bunch of rats and the rats keep getting bigger and bigger until they find the queen. So I'm picturing those rats, and I guess those are Norway rats because that's a Stephen King book. And he worked, Graveyard Shift, of course, he worked in some kind of paper mill or something for like 2 months, and like before he got a teaching job or something. So the graveyard shift came from. He was like they had rats there, and he's like, what if there was a lot of rats and they got really big?
Exactly what I was thinking. I was like, that sounds like a story of something in real life, and then it grew like it always does.
What does he say? Write about what you know, right?
We were at work the other day. Somebody was talking about how like something about going into the bathroom and then like going in to find them in the bathroom, and I was like, oh, there's a short story about that. Like, people never coming out of the bathroom.
Which one's that?
I can't remember what it's called. I think it's also in Night Shift.
People not coming out of the bathroom.
Is that the one? Tiger in the title? No, never mind. That's the one where he walks in and sees the tiger.
Here there be tigers. That's Skeleton Crew.
Maybe it's from Skeleton Crew then. I just remember like somebody doesn't come back from the bath. Maybe he just talked about writing that story.
There's one where the guy has to crawl through the back of an outhouse, which is particularly horrible.
Now that I think about it, I think it was him giving a speech and saying how he never wrote the story. That's what it was. He never wrote it because he didn't know how to end it. But it was, the idea was like a girl goes into the bathroom and never comes out. So then like a teacher goes in to look for her and they never come back. So then like the principal goes in and it escalates to like the army goes in. Like,
I think I know what you're talking about. He's talking about like when you go to the rest stops on the highway and you see the random writing on the stalls. He had an idea about like somebody starting to see messages on so he was traveling from rest stop to like find the secret place that the secret messages on the stalls were pointing to. And then so I think that's probably the same story. Then he goes in and disappears, somebody else disappears. But he never, like you said, he never wrote it because he never really knew where to take it. It never formed into a full-fledged idea.
Yeah, I remember him saying, he was like, I never wrote it because I don't know how to end it. He's like, if you got one, let me know.
Yeah, well, I mean, that never stopped him before. That's probably my favorite part of the first movie. When he's talking to Bill Denbrough, he's like, no, I didn't like the ending.
Yeah.
Okay, there's where I wrote fucking Stan. Yeah, to you, Stan said, but if I had tried that, nothing would have happened because you've got your brother, Bill, but I don't have anything. And then
even that
Bill
doesn't really make sense to me. Like, I'm like, well, why? Maybe it's because they're just kids and they can't comprehend it. But I'm like, well, that's the same thing.
If that's his logic, well, then none of them have anything because Bill's the only. Like, you have to have a sibling that died to relate because then none of them have anything.
That's what I mean. So I'm like, what are you trying to say there?
Stan was right. Why did they come into its lair with nothing but their two stupid silver slugs? Yeah, I mean, I think I've said that several times. Why?
I like it. What he says, he saw Stan's panic leap from one of them to the next, like a grass fire driven by a hot wind.
Yeah, it's a good metaphor. And of course, as if in a dream, Ben heard Miss Davies, the assistant librarian, reading the little ones. Who is that chip-chapping on my head? Mm-hmm. Now that I know, I see it everywhere, but like I didn't actually know that this giant-ass book came from a stupid little kid's poem that's about a paragraph long.
I also don't remember seeing it so much before. Like, it didn't even stick out in my mind.
Yeah. It's like that and how much float and balloons are in here.
Yeah, and pom-poms.
Yep.
You got your bird. Yeah. I wrote down, this is confusing. This whole thing with Stan and the birds. And I still, like we said earlier, if Stan's all about these birds, why didn't he see the damn bird? Why did Mike see the bird? I feel like Mike should have seen the two dead kids floating in the standpipe, and Stan should have seen the birds. Because in every other part, he's all about the birds, except for when he saw Pennywise.
It still doesn't make sense, but I think he saw the bird because his dad, or whatever, yeah, it was his dad, wasn't it, saw the bird too. But like, why did his dad see the bird?
No, that's a good point. That's probably exactly why he saw it. It was keeping it in the family.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. He was in the moment.
Yeah, and Stan's scene also was like not really like, it was terrifying, probably one of the scariest, honestly, in my opinion. But it wasn't directly like, it didn't really seem.
It was
directed
terrifying,
at him.
If it had been anybody else, I'd have been like, "Oh my god!" But it was Stan. I was like, "Yeah, so Stan saw some dead kids, yeah."
In a dark, empty, like well, basically giant well.
I was more fascinated by what a horrible way to go. Like, just swim till you die.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that bad for Stan because all he did was watch.
Well, my point was,
I'm not invested in Stan.
It wasn't like Stan themed. It was just terrifying.
Yeah, because if it was Stan themed, it would have been a goddamn bird.
Right.
Mike stole his bird from him.
It does seem like a weird thing to do.
Amber, did you notice the moose blower was in a sterno can? Do you remember the sterno cans?
It's coming back to me now that you say that.
When they were under the Dixie Pig chasing, I think, Mordred, the sterno cans were lighting the way.
Right. Don't they use
It's like a little instant flame thing, like you would put under a buffet table to keep it warm.
Because they were going to use something else and it didn't work, right?
Yeah. We'll get to that one day.
Yeah.
He's definitely a big fan of sterno cans because they show up a lot. I guess in Maine, when it snows a foot every couple weeks, the power goes out, so they probably use sterno cans more often than that.
To do what though? Like heat
Light,
themselves?
Heat, cook, whatever you got to do.
Which have either of you guys read any of Joe Hill?
That guy. A little bit, not a lot.
I have one of his books, but I haven't read them.
I have two of them.
So he's also really good. I went on a binge of some of his books a while ago, but in his book, I think it's 20th Century Ghosts or 21st, whatever. It has ghosts in the title. It's a book of short stories, and one of them is about a giant grasshopper. And I'm like, I wonder if he got that from his dad.
Didn't In the Tall Grass, isn't that Joe Hill? Or is that Stephen King?
That's Stephen King.
Oh, he did. It was both of them, or at least he gave Joe Hill some credits, maybe. That was weird. Did you watch that? I'm not sure I like that one.
I thought it was a good story, but it made me seriously uncomfortable, and I don't know why.
Well, that means it's a real good story.
Right, exactly.
Maybe that's why I didn't like it. I just kind of wanted it to be over.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. All right, so they're in the bathroom. The toilet exploded before they got there. Richie, so you know the theory of Schrodinger's cat, where it's both dead and alive till you open the box and you look at it and make it exist in one state or another?
Right.
That's what I think Richie did with it in the house.
What do you mean?
Because
since Richie, he was the first one to scream it's a werewolf. When it comes rushing up, he's like, the werewolf, it's the werewolf. So then they all see the werewolf.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Richie kind of turned it into the werewolf by saying that.
Which I think is kind of what they wanted anyways for the silver to work.
I think they're kind of assuming werewolf-y type stuff, yeah, so maybe he didn't actually turn it into, maybe just, I don't know. Because they were definitely doing the silver thing already. And then Beverly was in trouble, so Ben turned into the hero.
Right.
I like how he talks about, is it this where he's thinking about kissing her and it's like horrible and awesome at the same time?
I think so.
That happens a couple times. Really, he didn't dare think of it, and he couldn't not think of it or something, he said.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it comes through the floor. Ben gets scratched up. Beverly shoots it, and it runs back down. Oh, the number on the high school jacket is 13. Does that mean anything other than just generally unlucky number?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Like, it seemed like so obvious, and I'm like, oh, is it?
Yeah, he's like, it's 13. Like, enough said. I don't even need to explain that. I guess 1:30. Give me a second. I gotta run to the somewhere.
Okay.
Be right back.
Which I feel like I've seen a lot of merch, especially when the new movie came out for like Pennywise and It and all of that, and I'm really surprised that I haven't seen a bomber jacket made like that.
Yeah, was that in the new version?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I feel like if they were pulling stuff from it, whether it be the book or the movies.
Yeah, that would have been great.
I kind of want to make something like that, or try to, at least.
I don't know if it's the way he describes it, or like, again, like my dad said, I'm picturing like Michael J. Fox's character, but like I can picture it so vividly, and it's scary because it's a werewolf, but I'm also thinking, like, out of all of the things that they've seen, like that might be like one of the easier to digest, although, you know, still, yeah, because it looks goofy almost.
Yeah,
I think I need that jacket for Christmas.
That's a good idea.
I don't even know if you can do that, but well, I could probably get it custom made or something. Anyway, yeah, I picture Michael J. Fox, and that's just because I'm old, I guess. I can't help it.
No, I said I do too, and like I said, picturing that version of the werewolf makes it almost easier to digest than a lot of the other things that we've seen, like the leper or the mummy, or I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, the werewolf I'm picturing is definitely more user-friendly than the one that exists in this scene. You know, it's even up on the top of its legs, like a classic, or it's the top of its feet. It doesn't stand on its whole feet. It stands on the balls like an animal would, and it's got the dripping snout. It's not Michael J. Fox like, that's for sure.
No.
So, they face it, and he says that a lot. I'll kill you all. It's almost like maybe he is starting to get scared of it now, because it's like he's almost trying to talk himself into it. I'll kill you all. Really, I'm gonna do it. Because he says that a lot.
Yeah, like, you don't believe me, it's gonna happen. I'm like, yeah, buddy, you've been saying that.
Yeah, right. Tell me something I haven't heard before. Come on. Like, you need a new routine. Right? It's been 30 years and you're still saying that shit. Like the house snapped back like an elastic. Shouldn't there be another word there? Does the house snap back like an elastic? That's it.
Well,
shouldn't there be an elastic?
Is elastic a noun?
I didn't think it was, but I guess it is now. Yeah. I'm not going to argue with the author, that's for sure. And his editor. It was gone. In the wake, the silence was very loud. So yeah, the house went from being stretchy to being normal. I guess they don't talk about the next time they're gonna have to face it, but I guess we're gonna find out, because I thought it was Neibolt Street, but maybe I'm thinking of this scene. Because in my head, I remember them going to Neibolt Street to face it. But,
yeah, I think you're right. I mean, let me back up. I also thought that they went into Neibolt Street for their final child confrontation, but I think I was thinking of this scene, and I think there's another part where they go into the Barrens.
Okay. I guess we're going to find out. That feels right. And,
I also, oh yeah, well, this is the part where he's talking about fear and power at the end of the chapter.
Yeah.
Before the interlude, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering why Beverly wasn't wearing a bra, or did I take that wrong? They're all staring at. I wasn't
sure either how to take that.
They're all like staring at her boobs, right?
But she's only,
she's only 10. I don't think I wore a bra when I was 10.
Yeah. I thought she was 11, but same thing still.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe yeah.
So that was
she's almost ashamed. She's like, I can't help it. What?
It's like all the bodily changes start happening then. So unless you're like go from nothing to everything, you don't really need one yet.
That sounds kind of painful.
I was about 12 when I remember Grandma Anna Maria had to have the conversation with me that you are too old to go around topless anymore.
Wow, you made it that far, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you're a kid. You do it all the time.
You used to sneak out in your underwear, I remember. You were like 2 and you would have nothing but your what do you call it, training diaper on.
Yeah.
Except we had to put a lock up at the top of the door so you stop sneaking out in the morning before we got up.
There's a world to see out there, okay?
Hey, all right, you can't constrain me. I'm out of here. It's time I was on my own. I mean, I guess that's it for that chapter. Right?
Real quick though, what is the point of section 12? Like, it's such a Stephen King-ism, but nothing much happened for the next 2 weeks. Like, thank you for that.
I don't even know if I noticed that the first time.
I guess just to tell you that time has passed.
Maybe, like I said, it's one horrible thing after another, so maybe he's giving the characters a break.
Yeah, right. Like, they need
letting them after they just had a big battle, so maybe they're licking their wounds before they go back at it.
Yeah.
That is funny though. It's like, all right, they've done enough for now. Nothing happened for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, don't you worry about it.
Maybe he didn't write anything for 2 weeks. Maybe that's what he did. He went and sat on the bench and had to think about what to do next.
And he forgot to take it out of the story.
All right. 4th interlude. Hating on Irish people. I'm not sure how I felt about that.
This section I had to read twice because I didn't really understand the first time what was happening.
I read it once, but I don't. Yeah. Okay, so why was he mad at those people?
So, are you talking about Claude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
so
was
seems like. Am I right in assuming it seems like they were saying that they're like the 4 of them were gay?
No, I didn't get that at all.
That was the impression that I got. And then
it was saying that Claude loved the other guy, but I couldn't tell if it was in like a I want to be with you way or I respect and admire you and I love.
I thought it was more of a brotherly friendship love than a sexual love.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
I was getting that feeling too, but then why did those guys go and murder them all? Murder the 3 of them and try to kill Claude too?
I don't know. But, well, yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah, so they tried to kill him. I don't know how they didn't. Oh, he ran away or something. He
escaped.
So, yeah, why did they do that?
And for some reason, I had it in my mind that it was because they thought they were gay. Maybe they just thought that.
I don't.
Oh, no.
I don't think gay had anything to do with it. Huh?
You're right. It was the union.
Oh. Wait, is that why they died? Because of the union?
They didn't want them to unionize?
It just says, there were 4 lumbermen involved in organizing.
Okay. I read, by the way, like, I'm still doing the arm surgery thing, so I was up at 3 a.m. because I couldn't sleep, so I read this part at like 3:30 in the morning. So it's a little foggy. Maybe that's why I didn't understand what was going on.
See, I've read it twice, and I still have to read it again to understand. Yeah. So it says here.
So they were trying to start a union, and they got killed for it. Claude got away and came back and killed the people that tried to kill him. Right?
Right. And I wonder how much of all of this is influenced by Pennywise.
Maybe all?
90% at least.
Yeah.
So Pennywise bad.
Already there.
So I would have beat him up.
Not former union, Pennywise.
Right.
So, times because the union
We're up. Jimmy Hoffa was
the union.
union hasn't been a thing in like 50 years.
I mean, not that they don't exist, but that there's labor disputes and all that kind of stuff with them.
It still seems insane though, like that it's like because they're trying to start a union, they go and kill them all.
Well, they were working for the boss. The boss is the one that didn't want the union, so clearly, like they wouldn't care. They were getting paid to stop the movement. It wasn't that they were personally invested in not having a union. They were the only ones that would care about not having a union is the owners, or care about having a union, because then they have to pay them and give them benefits and be fair about everything. So most of them, there's a lot of strong arming in the early first parts of the 20th century with business practices weren't exactly on the level.
I'm rereading it now even. I'm like, maybe those other men actually didn't have anything to do with it. Like, did anybody see them actually go there? Oh,
he definitely targeted them. But I don't...
Because all it says...
I'm not sure that it says that he ever... Does it say that they attacked him? I don't...
It just says that 4 checked in, none checked out. One of them was never seen again, blah, blah, blah. The other 2 were found floating face down in the river. Bickford was missing his head. Someone had taken it off with a swipe of a woodman's 2-hander. Both of Hartwell's legs were gone, and those who found him swore that they had never seen such an expression of pain and horror on a human face. Something had distended his mouth, stuffing out his cheeks.
This is the people Claude was with, right? Not
right.
People he killed.
Pinned to the back of each man's shirt was a paper with the word union on it. I'm like, that sounds like Pennywise.
Maybe, but I could see that happening actually without Pennywise. I mean, the union part, because it was definitely a thing of contention for a lot of companies at the time.
I agree. Honestly, I could see it either way. That's why I said I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem a little over the top, though. But yeah, okay, so all right. Now I know why Claude was mad, because they tried to kill him. It seems like an overreaction for trying to start a union, but whatever. I would be mad too.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I don't know that I'd have done anything different. Well, I probably wouldn't have had the energy for all that. I'd have got someone else to do it.
I mean, all he does, he's just mentioning that it was these people that had murdered his friends. Like, there's nothing that says that it was them.
Yeah. Why did he target them? Are we missing a part where it says that they did it, or he just decided
Weeks
they
after
did
that, he'd show up in a joint talking union and swearing he'd have his revenge on the men that had murdered his friends. Maybe it's because he's saying he saw them. That's a good point. He was there.
Maybe we're just assuming, like, they don't say that he saw King and Katuk do it, but he was there, so it's implied.
Right.
And I like how he gives people nicknames like El Katuk and then goes, nobody knows why. Well, why did you bother then?
Like, you know what? I'm sorry, I know this is getting too deep into it, but I'm like, how do we know that it wasn't Pennywise making him think it was those people?
We don't.
Yeah, I know. It's just interesting.
Like I said, Pennywise is like an amplifier. He takes the bad and makes it 12 times better.
Yeah.
Or worse, whatever. And Eddie King says, "Please, Claude, I got married last month." Well, if that's true, you shouldn't be walking around fucking murdering people.
Wait, Eddie King is not one of those names he mentioned. Like, how many people were there?
No, Eddie King's one of the murderers, not the murdered.
Right. He says Hamilton Tracker, William Mueller, and Richard Bowie.
Well,
never mind. Were the names he mentioned the most frequently, so there were others.
Yeah. Tracker, huh? That guy has a centerfold hanging in his office through a dirty window. That's this book, right? Tracker Brothers was that was when Eddie went back.
Yeah, that.
Eddie who never
yeah.
played a sport in his life.
Right. Where was that? The train yard?
It was like right next to it.
Yeah.
Like overgrown baseball field behind the Tracker Brothers. And all the kids looked in the window at the monthly centerfold. Okay, so I don't understand this next part. How is he murdering people and everyone's just like, hey, give me another beer?
Yeah, that was.
I don't. They're just like, oh yeah, Claw's murdering people again. Play something in the jukebox, guys. I don't. How is everybody not freaking out? Like when I read it, it's kind of like there's an atmosphere of it's loud, it's a raucous crowd, and that's the only thing I think maybe they didn't understand what was happening because it was like busy Saturday night at a bar kind of thing.
Right.
So it was just loud. They didn't realize why it was loud behind them.
Well, doesn't it say later though that like they knew it was happening and they just kind of let it go on?
Well,
the guy Thorogood, I think, kind of says that.
Well, and that's it. And it says Claude walks in and orders a beer like he wasn't the most wanted man in the county. Like, well, wait a minute. What did Claude do that he was the most wanted man in the county?
He just murdered all those people.
Oh, that was after he murdered.
I think so.
I thought he like sat down and ordered the beer and then started killing people.
Wasn't he in there drinking?
What?
Oh, I think it was because of the people who like Claude put out of the way.
Like they tried to kill him, and because they didn't, everyone's looking for him. Is that what that meant?
I think so. They're talking about how no official. Oh wait, they're talking about this night. I don't know. I can't tell if he's talking about September 9th or back in May. So far as I've been able to find out, no official warrant was ever sworn out against him, and the police never took a hand. Oh, it was the fires. They suspected that he was setting all the fires.
Forgot about the fires. 20 grand with a sterno can and something else.
Mm-hmm. Maybe there were fears about what he would say if he was brought to trial for arson.
Okay. Why the hell did he start lighting fires? I guess we don't know that, do we?
Maybe it wasn't him.
Was he perhaps taken into the woods with the rest of the agitators? Why didn't he take Hartlow?
Oh no!
What is that?
In that section, it was never brought to trial for what happened in the Silver Dollar because he was hung.
Yeah, that'll do it. Oh yeah, the two cops were like, "Nope, we're out of here. Not even dealing with this. Do what you want."
Yeah, that's a good point. But
I'm
Thorogood says, he does say on the page before, or at least page after. I was just reading that where he says, we knew, but it didn't seem to matter. It was like politics in a way, like town business. Best let people who understand politics take care of that, and people who understand town business take care of that.
What he's murdering people?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting way to look
and
at
then
it.
Mike says, are you really talking about fate and just afraid to come out and say so? And he said, yeah, mayhap I am.
Mayhap I am. Mayhap I am. I mean, okay. I don't understand the implication there. Is there something I'm missing about calling it fate?
So, no, I can't tell if they're saying that like it's Pennywise influencing him, therefore you don't want to get involved, or if it's like good influencing him and you don't want to get involved.
I think
either way.
Well, we do Pennywise.
Down.
Good.
I just say that it feels like a cop out. It's like, oh, okay. So tell that to the judge.
Right. Well, Pennywise is next because he asked them about him, and they're like, "Oh, it's that guy."
I love how that always happens too, where they're like, "Did you notice anything weird?" And they're like, not really, except for this one clown that was there."
There's nothing weird about that. Maybe he didn't want to be seen. Maybe what did they say? Maybe he was a politician. At the gunfight. This one, he said, seen him a few times since then. Figure maybe he had such a good time that night, he decided to stick around. There's probably a lot of truth to that. Like, there's probably towns where Pennywise wouldn't be as successful.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he wouldn't be able to kill people, but it's much easier when there's already evil. September 1905 ushered in a heightened period of terror that would include the Easter tide explosion of the Kitchener Ironworks. And then he goes on, what does it really eat, Chris?
Well, I like this. I never thought about this, why it's 27 years, because it gives the people that he preys on enough time to refresh. Like, those same people are going to be adults now. Or they're going to be new children who won't have heard, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
New time for fresh terrors. And then he said, like, oh, maybe he just goes back and takes a nap and wakes up, and like, to him it's just like a couple hours. Like, he eats and then he's full, so he takes a nap and then he wakes up and he's like, well, it's on the menu today.
I like that line right at the end where he says, and now that we no longer believe in Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, Hansel and Gretel, or the troll under the bridge, it is ready for us.
Of course, the troll made it. That stupid troll. I think at the beginning of this interlude, he says something. Didn't they say something about there's several things we don't talk about, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, and the murder of Claude was one of them. Like, why don't they talk about that?
Because it's kind of like the Brady gang, whatever it is in this version.
I can't find it. But he said something about, like, you'll get in trouble if you talk about that in Derry. And it was like, the Kitchener Ironworks, this and that, and the murder of Claude Giroux. Or not Giroux. That's a Flyers guy. Whatever his name is. Giroux.
Claude Giroux.
Is that French for hero?
I don't know, actually.
Did you notice the date that he's writing the fourth interlude?
Oh, yeah. I did now.
I turned 15 that day. Okay. I mean, anything else on the interlude? I think we're good, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only other thing I was going to say is that last part of the come back and we'll see if you remember the simplest thing of all, how it is to be children, secure in belief and afraid of the dark. I'm like, that definitely, I think, helps the theory of the the things that are about to take place. Like, in order
they're gonna have to be to succeed, right?
Right.
Yep.
You have to believe. Well, I don't know, you have to be afraid of the dark, but you have to be secure in your belief, that's for sure. I'm not sure about the dark part. I don't know what that meant. I guess just because all kids are afraid of the dark. Hell, I'm afraid of the dark, yeah.
But not like I was as a kid. I'm afraid of the dark in the sense that, like, I don't know. I'm not afraid that there's going to be a ghost there.
Yeah, I'm not afraid that there's actually something there. Physical or ephemeral. Right. If there was, we got a whole nother set of problems.
Yeah, I mean, that would almost make me happy.
Right? Oh, thank God, I'm not just losing my mind. There actually is an intruder in my closet. Okay, so all of part 5?
So just
for the next
looking
one?
at...
What do we got? 9/11 to... Ooh, that's a big one.
It's over 300 for me. Where would we split it, though?
Well, with the epilogue, we're going 11,900, like 250. I would split it after Under the City, I guess.
Yeah. So do 19, 20, and 21.
Yeah.
And then add 22 to the end.
Yeah, with the epilogue and the interlude, yeah.
That works.
Yeah, so like the last time, the last part will probably be a little small, but then we can wrap up our thoughts on the whole book.
Mm-hmm.
And then hey, we're actually going to be at the point where we have to figure out what's next. I mean, thought about that.
I
So,
am up for anything.
I'm not sure where to go. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
There's so many places to go. You know, in the end, all things serve the beam. So I don't know if we're ready to go there yet, but I'm always ready to go there. Although we do keep bringing up the tower, so maybe we do need to go there next, so she knows what we're talking about at least from now on.
Yeah,
but that's
not a bad idea.
That's you know.
That's an investment.
Yeah, that'll be the next year at least. Probably longer than that.
I also don't have any of the Dark Tower books, so.
No, you don't have any
That's
yet.
fair.
True.
All right. So 2 weeks we'll do part 5. 20. What was it? 21, 22, and 23. Did I get that right?
No.
19, 20, 21. 19, 20,
Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
All right. I guess the episode's over. See you in 2 weeks. Everybody say bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.